Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we're going through the Fremantle versus Gold Coast game in which Fremantle came out on top 85-65, and yeah, they just pretty much dominated. Gold Coast couldn't get much going. I mean, Tukamilla was pretty inefficient with his kicking. I think he went at like 54%. I'm pretty sure he also had a negative Supercoach split, if I remember correctly. He ended up with a 130, 19, and a 95 Supercoach split, so that was a pretty negative split. Also had Powell and Flanders, and I think Powell really did we saw this, him start to impact on Sexton. And yeah, there was a couple of dumb decisions I made mid-round here that were probably not the best, but anyway, we move, and hopefully next week can make sort of more better decisions, I guess, in a way. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this recap. So Brayshaw 136, he was pretty dominant in the first half when I was there and watching the game, or at least, sorry, when I was at home watching the game, and 43, 41, 35, 17 in the last quarter, but job was done by then. So he was pretty good, doing his best. And the good thing about Brayshaw, if I just bring up the stats here, he ended up with a 136, but it was 8 tackles, 5 marks, 32 touches. So it was a pretty all-round performance. It wasn't it wasn't a huge amount of one thing, huge amount of another thing. It was a performance that you could consistently get. Darcy here, he ended up with what did he end up with? 111 fantasy, 147 Supercoach, a lot of hitouts to advantage, I'm led to believe. And yeah, he just dominated in the ruck, it would seem, against that of Witts, who had 28 hitouts. And yeah, the two ended up Darcy and also Jackson with 49 hitouts between them two. Was that 34 hitouts? I believe, is that 34? Am I missing 34 hitouts? So yeah, they dominated the ruck. Let me just double check that if that's right. Yeah, 49-34. Hayden Young kicked 3 goals to get to a 104 and had a 130 Supercoach score. So yeah, he's been one that I've been sort of used a lot in the mistakes video, because I think he's one that's been crucial in the mistakes video. Didn't really hurt us too much in Supercoach until probably this 130, and I mean, overperformers don't hurt you too much, but yeah, this 130 from Hayden Young in Supercoach was annoying. He kicked 3 goals, had 24 touches, 4 marks, 3 tackles, and yeah, he was pretty good on the day. O'Meara 96, Sarong 95, which turned into a 1-2-1 in Supercoach, which was kind of annoying. He seems to just continue on scoring whatever he likes at Supercoach level. Fantasy level, 95 is it's okay. It's actually pretty good for those that don't have him, which was a little bit kind. Jai Clark, 88. Annoying that I brought him in and he hasn't really done anything since then. 88 here. He may actually help by Pearce's injury, which could mean that they bring in either they make Luke Ryan go tall, or they do something like that and he gets more of the duty. But then again, against Sydney, he's going to have the clamps by James Jordan. So it will be interesting if Jordan Clark himself can actually get off the hook there. Chapman 82, Switkowski 81, Tracy, Sturt, Aish, Luke Ryan is 68. So glad that I didn't have him in fantasy, because a 68 sucks. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more so to do with him having to actually play tall. As you see here, Pearce didn't play the last quarter and a bit. And if we look at Ryan in the last quarter and a bit, to be fair though, he did actually score really well. His one good quarter was with Pearce off the ground, in which he scored 34 of his points with Pearce not on the ground. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Then you've got here Johnson, Banfield, Frederick, Wagner, Fife as well, sucked. And Sharp, a guy that I really wanted to sort of go back and hopefully that he could go big. He just didn't go big, so that really did suck. And yeah, anyway. And then Jackson down here basically did all of his work in the second quarter. Got up to 31 at halftime, and I thought, yep, that's pretty good. 31, we'll probably get to, I think it was on about 43 Supercoach at the time. And then he just didn't get going in the second half. He ended up with a Supercoach score of 66, but only a 2-pointer in the third quarter with basically, he had 3 hitouts, a free kick against, and a handball, and then in the last quarter, a free kick, a kick, and a couple of hitouts. So yeah, he just didn't do anything in the second half. Amos, Warner, and then Pierce will be an interesting one, what happens with that, with his injury. And then Davies had a couple of free kicks against in the third quarter, which dropped his score back to 0. So, yeah, he's a key defender. He's not going to be worthy. And then Tuke Miller over on the other side, he scored a 130. He was absolutely huge in fantasy, but just butchered the ball, as I said. Sam Flanders, a 111-117 split. He was pretty good throughout the day, just getting a lot of the spare ball. I mean, he ended up with, 33 touches, 7 marks, 3 tackles. So pretty good day for him. Then you've got, Will Power with 22 disposals, 12 marks, and 5 tackles. So he was pretty good and consistent throughout the game. Just getting a lot of +6s, it would seem. Then you had Raul on 85. He 23 touches, 2 marks, and 7 tackles. So he did what he usually does, and yeah, he just didn't get. I don't think he really used the ball that well, and that's why his Supercoach score was only 82. Witt's 81, Noah Anderson 76. He sort of has up and down games. It's kind of crazy, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have the Swans anytime soon, do they? Who do Gold Coast have in their run home? Let me just double check that for you guys, because that'll be interesting to see the tag potential. Doesn't get tagged by, won't get tagged by Collingwood. Noah Anderson will probably get the tag at North game. The Port game, he probably gets Willem Drew. I don't think Bedford goes to him at GWS, but maybe Bedford goes to, I don't know who Bedford would go to be honest with you. Maybe Bedford goes to a Sam Flanders in that scenario. Then Brisbane, he probably cops Jared Berry. West Coast doesn't cop anyone. Essendon probably doesn't cop anyone. Melbourne won't cop anyone, and then Richmond doesn't cop anyone. So I think Anderson's actually pretty free for the run home. Swallow 76, Day 74, Sexton 74, sort of showing that he's not, I don't think, going to be top of the line with Powell in there, especially because if you look at that 22 in the first, Powell had 28, but then Powell started to dominate in the last quarter as well. 37 for Powell, 18 for Sexton. So it seems like they almost can't score more than about 55 between them, and I think Powell is going to dominate Sexton's scoring. Here we go. Mac Andrews, 66 is that? Yeah, 66 for Mac Andrews. Did nothing in the second and fourth quarters. Closey, 64. Lukosius, 63. Collins, 61. Graham, 59. He's the one that will be interesting to see how his role sort of develops over the next year or so, as he's one that could, what's he averaging for the year? He's averaging 64 for the year. You probably want to see that more in the sort of 50s or even into the 40s for him to be valuable next year. I don't think at 64 he's going to make that 25, 30-point jump that we sort of need out of these guys, as a lot of the guys that we're hunting for are really unders, and we're not really hunting for that breakout guy, that natural improver. That Will Graham could be a natural improver, but I'd rather jump on him after he's shown a couple games in the next year, rather than jumping on him immediately from the start type of thing. Ballard, Long, Hewland as well, 52, showed that he was more of that lockdown defender yet again. Berry, Jeffrey, Rogers, Ainsworth, Humphrey, and Ellis. So that pretty much comes to the end of this, and you can just see Ellis wasn't really getting a game for Gold Coast before this week. He hadn't played in like a month and a half. Sorry, not a month and a half, 2.5 months or so, give or take. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there, going through the Fremantle versus Gold Coast game, in which Fremantle just came out winners by 20 points, and they solidified their chance of getting into the top 4 sometime soon. But anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be my AFL Fantasy team review for round 15 that comes out on Wednesday. Bye, guys.